Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. My longtime life's friend, John Clark, recently called me, and he said he had one of his colleagues through St. Lawrence University that's writing this book, and they wanted to talk to me about what my impression was on the impact of global warming on fishing in St. Lawrence County. Wow, that's a big mouthful. Now, whenever you talk about global warming, you are setting yourself up for one of the most dangerous political conversations that a person can have. We are so polarized about that statement, that nomenclature of global warming. And I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to express my feelings on that. But what are my feelings about the recent trends in fishing in St. Lawrence County? I think this is the big thing that it gives me a chance to express and to think about. And I've called a couple other people that are avid fishermen and asked them their feeling. How do they think fishing is now in St. Lawrence County as opposed to what it was years ago? And I got to tell you, I think it's even better than ever. Right now, I think that the fishing in so many of our waters is greater than it ever was before. I can tell you that some of our unmentioned lakes in this area, because what we mostly talk about is either the St. Lawrence River or the tributaries that feed in, because that's a very special fishery. But we have a lot of smaller lakes that have populations of bass. And I've talked to some people that feel very strongly that the population of largemouth bass in particular in some of our other lakes in the area has gone up appreciably from what it once was. Now, let me be more specific. My lifelong friend, John Clark, has a number of properties where people come from all over the country to stay there on some of the lakes in the area. But he also has a beautiful lodge in South Colton on the Racket River. And he said to me yesterday, he said, Don, years ago, people would come there and they didn't really catch a lot of fish as they went out from this beautiful lodge he has with boats there and canoes for them to get out on the river. But he says over the last few years, people are catching tons of walleyes out there in this part of the river. The walleye fishing has gone up. It's got better and better. And I can tell you that I remember years ago in the St. Lawrence River, years ago, catching smallmouth bass, and to catch a 2 or 3 pounder, that was a beautiful bass. Now we see a 2 or 3 pounder and we think, gee, that was a little one. Throw him back. And they call him and they try to get the bigger fish. But there are bigger fish. There's much bigger fish than there was before. Now we say they're bigger because of the gobies. Their diet it's been so enriching that they're just getting fat because they don't have to move as much and they got all this food that's easy picking. However, why is this food there? Why has things changed the way they have? There's so many answers to something that matters to me so much in life that I spend much of my time talking to you about it, and that is fishing. And yet there's so much that I don't know. So many things when people ask us, why is the fishing better? We can come up with a number of reasons. We can talk about fish management. We can talk about biologists having a better sense of how fish need to have conditions so they can spawn properly. There's so many things. Weed growth, but there's also new species that have come in that didn't exist years ago. And for whatever reason they are there, are they making the fishing better? All I know is what brought me to this area years and years ago was the Deer River and the muskies that I was able to go down and catch on a Mepps spinner as a 19-year-old getting ready to go into the Navy. Since that time, no matter how we say this fishery is vulnerable, there is wonderful muskie fishing in our tributaries that I think has got better. There's going to be exceptions to all this. There's going to be some species that we don't see as much. I don't see near the number of rock bass in the St. Lawrence River that I once did. But wow, have I discovered some monster rock bass in the Racket River. Did they exist years ago? I guess there may not be any easy answer to this question, but I'll tell you what, it's worth thinking about. It's worth going back in your thought pattern and thinking back years ago and saying, has the fishing really got worse? Has the fishing really got better? And why? There's always going to be questions unanswered, but it sure makes it more fun to think about this glamorous and wonderful sport that is really coming to help our area. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.